Welcome to Stab the Dragon Productions for episode number 254, as we continue, or really kind of start, our Irish studies. Coming to you from Fort Worth, Texas on Wednesday, March 18th, 2026, where it is currently 73 degrees. Now, Irish whiskeys has never been in my favorites list, and I'm not sure why. So I'm making a special effort this year to study Irish whiskey in March and a little bit of April. And, especially because of St. Patrick's Day, I guess, which was yesterday. On St. Patrick's Day, many Americans celebrate their Irish heritage, even if they aren't necessarily Irish. I don't know that I have any Irish blood, but I like to celebrate the Irish. I'm more English, Scottish, and German, Scandinavian. But we all become Irish for a day, at least, here in March. So to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, we'll look briefly at who St. Patrick was, what he accomplished, and then we'll drink some St. Patrick's Irish whiskey. There you go. Why not? Just the facts about this whiskey. It's a traditional Irish blended whiskey with malted barley and grain whiskeys, triple distilled, non-chilled filtered, aged in first fill bourbon casks, bottled at 90 proof, and is available here in Fort Worth for about $40. Tasting notes. Sweet and spicy, fruity, a little bit of citrus, a little bit of apple. This is a very tasty, bold whiskey at 90 proof. My score was an 85. My drinkability letter grade was solid A. My recommendation. This is a bold and spicy, flavorful Irish whiskey. At 90 proof, it has a delightful burn that I really like. Some might find it a bit too harsh, maybe. But it's not that new whiskey harshness. This is a boldness. But if you're used to the usual 80 proof Irish whiskeys, then this may be a bit bold. But this has become one of my favorites, I think. I'm going to have to do some kind of a one-on-one tournament to make sure which is my favorite Irish whiskey, but this would be up there. All right, St. Patrick of Ireland. He was a Briton. Do I have a St. Patrick's book here? There we go. St. Patrick of Ireland. He was a Briton from back when the Romans ruled Britain in the early 5th century. His father was a Roman government official as well as a deacon in the church, and his grandfather was a priest. Patrick was kidnapped by Irish pirates when he was about 16. He spent several years as a slave, tending sheep. And while a slave, his faith grew. He escaped from slavery and returned to Britain and deepened his studies in the faith, eventually going to school in France. And then he returned to Ireland, later winning thousands to the Lord and establishing churches, changing the core of Ireland forever. And that's why he's the patron saint of Ireland. And there's all kinds of legends and stuff and stories about him, driving all the snakes out of Ireland or something like that, and then dealing one-on-one with some ancient druid. So, there's lots of cool stories there, but the bottom line is he converted Ireland. He and his efforts and those who followed him converted Ireland from a wild pagan land to a Christian land. So this is why St. Patrick really is a hero in the faith, even for a Baptist like me. Whiskey details. Established in 2014 by Cyril Walsh in Cork, Ireland, where 12 generations of the Walsh family have been traced back. 3 out of 5 points for history. I don't really have a whole lot. This is a fairly new, 2014, so it's about 12 years old. So it doesn't have a whole lot of history behind it. So 3 out of 5 points. Bottle, label, and marketing. This bottle is a classic shape. It's round, straight sides. You have a nice little flared neck there. A rubber stopper and a plastic cap. There. So to pour. The label, I think, is classy and bold with not too much of a hoo-ha statement going on there. There's no real history on the label either. I began seeing this in Goody Goody, I don't know, 4 years ago maybe, here in Fort Worth, and I finally bought it. But I've not really seen it marketed beyond the store. No advertisements or anything. I couldn't find a YouTube review of this particular edition of this whiskey. Website is a pretty good website, though, if you go there. So 4 out of 5 for bottle, label, and marketing. Appearance of this whiskey. Yeah, this is a medium colored whiskey, golden brown. In the glass. There you go. And that's medium. That's a 3 out of 5. I tend to like darker whiskeys, but you know, that's a medium. Composition of this whiskey. This is a blend of single malt and single grain whiskeys, aged in first fill bourbon barrels, bottled at 45 ABV or 90 proof. The bottle says distilled in Ireland, but it does not say distilled by St. Patrick's. So they do source some of their whiskeys, and I don't know exactly where this whiskey's from. Maybe it's a blend of theirs with wherever they source it from. They do say this is non-chill filtered and triple distilled in the normal Irish way. The whiskey here is aged 7 years at least, but it also says that some of the whiskeys in here may be 15 years old. So we don't have any information on the grains or the source of this whiskey. So for composition, 11 out of 15 because there's just too many unanswered questions. Now let's go to the whiskey itself. On the nose. Citrus, floral, honey, perfume, grass, a little bit of oak, sweet. So it's got a noticeable nose, pleasant. 8 out of 10 for the nose. Let's taste it. Sweet and spicy. Fruity. Can't decide if it's citrus or apples. Maybe both. Very tasty. It's got some bold flavors in there. I get the ex-bourbon cask. This is really very nice. I like this. I'm going to say that this kind of points me back in the direction of bourbons and ryes. You know, this is a little bit different from most Irish whiskeys that I've had. And some points, it's very similar to Teeling. Okay, I thought that Teeling was also kind of like this. So there's some points of similarity. I really think this has more flavor than Teeling. More variety in their flavor. Yeah. 23 out of 25 for taste. That's pretty impressive. I like that. And the mouthfeel, burn, and finish, I think, is what helps it shine. It's got a decent mouthfeel and a pretty good burn for 90 proof. Now, this is not the nasty ethanol burn. This is a very pleasant slap in the face kind of a burn. I mean, spicy burn. I mean, this is the kind of burn I look for in a whiskey. And that's why I have this whole category on my grading scheme, mouthfeel, burn, and finish. A lot of people really want smooth. Okay, no burn. They don't like the burn. I like a burn. If I don't have a burn in a whiskey, that's actually points off maybe. So this has a beautiful burn and mouthfeel for 90 proof. And the finish, the fruitiness, the spice, the bourbon barrel, all that lingers. I think it's got a longer finish than Teeling had. This would be a good matchup, Teeling versus St. Patrick's. So, mouthfeel, burn, and finish. I really like this. 14 out of 15. That's solid. That fruitiness and the spice linger longer. It's not just the mouth tingles of the burn. It's some fruitiness, the sweetness, the spice. Let's talk about flexibility now. This is a very bold, sweet, spicy, neat drink. Is how I prefer it. But I think with the proof and the flavors here, if you want to put this on ice, I think it would hold up. It does go nicely in a cocktail. I've tried this 3 different cocktails. Okay. First, I mixed this with some pineapple juice, and that didn't work. Okay. The pineapple juice just kind of ate it. A glass of Sprite. This worked very well in a glass of Sprite. Had a slice of lemon in it. And my wife liked it that way too, although the proof is a little bit much for her, but she thought it was good in the Sprite. And I think I need to make an old-fashioned with this, so hang on, I'll come back with an old-fashioned. And we are back with an old-fashioned, using some orange bitters, some Angostura bitters, a solid lump of turbinado for sweetener, and it's got an orange peel in there and a cherry. All right, let's see how this cocktail works. Oh, it works. That is pretty darn good. Maybe just a tad sweet for me. So I may have to rethink using a whole sugar cube, turbinado cube. And maybe a bit heavy on the orange. You know, I was getting some citrus notes in here and apple, but I think using orange bitters and an orange peel may be too much. So maybe I should look at an apple slice, because I'm getting some apple in that whiskey as well. Anyway, it works as an old-fashioned. This is really quite good. Still get some spiciness from the whiskey. So you can adjust it to your taste, but for mouthfeel, no, for flexibility, neat, iced, or mixed, solid 5 out of 5 points. Price, value, and availability. This is a goody-goody select whiskey, meaning they are the only ones in town in Fort Worth that sell this. So I'm not real sure how that works, if they've got a contract with the distributor, with the distillery. I don't know. But Goody Goody's the only place in town I could get this. And I paid $39.99 for this 750 milliliter bottle. So that's right at $40. So it's a little bit more expensive than Teeling. But without doing a head-to-head blind competition, I kind of think I might like this a little bit better than Teeling. So I would have to see. I don't know if I'll do that competition or not. But so I'm getting the value. The price is good for the value. Availability is where, there's a problem. I don't know, if it's available in your area or not, but here it's only available at the one store or one chain. So 9 out of 10 for price, value, and availability. Bonus points. This whiskey has the nose, the taste, the burn and mouthfeel, and the price that really makes me love it. So availability is the only problem, but 5 out of 5 for bonus points, giving me a total score of 85. Letter grade, solid A. Analysis and recommendation. Again, I find this to be a bold, spicy, flavorful Irish whiskey that really kind of points me in the direction of American ryes and bourbons. It is aged in first fill bourbon casks, so you get a lot of that bourbon influence. And at 90 proof, this has a delightful burn that I really do like. But I think that if you're used to those very smooth 80 proof Irish whiskeys, this will be a little bit of a change, maybe a shock. I don't know. This may become my favorite Irish whiskey. I don't know. I'd have to do some one-on-one competition, but this is really good. I really do enjoy this. It did not get completely lost in a Sprite and ice that I mixed it in. It was really quite refreshing. And here with the old fashioned, absolutely works. So for me, this is a favorite. All right, coming up soon. We've got, I'm going to be doing some more Irish whiskeys. So I hope to do something on this one by St. Patrick's. This is the 10-year, and this is finished in sherry casks. Sherry cask finish. I hope to do the Whistler. This is an Oloroso sherry finish on the Whistler, so that would be nice. But sometimes I get a random whiskey that's worth distilling. And I've got right here a Willet pot still Kentucky straight bourbon. And you can see there's not much in there. So I need to do a video on that one coming up soon. All right, well, that's all for now for Stab the Dragon Productions and our Irish whiskey studies out here. And happy St. Patrick's Day, a day late.